I was reborn together with Willow. In my last life, she was the one who personally chose me from the orphanage, a little brother at first and later, the woman who became my wife. We grew old together, side by side. But this time, this life is different. When the Lu parents beckoned me forward, just as they had before, Willow stopped them. Her voice was firm, almost cold. Dad, Mom, I don't want him anymore. I want this boy to be my younger brother. Her hand tightened around the arm of another child, the Wang family's adopted son. In the last life, he had died far too young. This time, she wanted to save him. Her eyes landed on me, icy, merciless. You stole Makoto's life and caused his tragic death. In this life, it's your turn to suffer as he did. And in that instant I understood. Willow wanted to be the holy savior of her so-called prince. And me? I was cast aside as the villain. I looked at Madame Wang, who stood waiting in front of me. Then at Willow, the woman who once stayed with me until our final breath, now walking away, resolute, pulling that boy with her. I smiled faintly, almost bitterly. That's fine. In this life, I'll try a different way of living. When I stepped out of the orphanage, the Lu family hadn't left yet. But the moment Willow saw me, her expression twisted. She shoved the boy toward the car and glared at me with undisguised hatred. George, even if you kneel and beg, I won't take you with me. The Lu family doesn't welcome you. A thief like you belongs with the man-eating Wang family. Her hand struck my chest as she shoved me back. The car door slammed shut, and before I could steady myself, the Lu family convoy sped off. The exhaust kicked up dust so thick, I could barely keep my eyes open. That's when a sleek black Maybach pulled up in front of me. The window lowered, and Madame Wang's sharp, cold eyes met mine. Do you want to go to the Lu family? She asked. I shook my head. The Wang family is fine. She looked almost surprised, her gaze lingering on me before she spoke again. What's your name? George, I answered softly. Her voice was brief, but her words carried weight. From now on, you'll be George Wang. I knew exactly what she meant. Quickly, I slid into the car and nodded obediently. Okay, Mom. Madame Wang raised an eyebrow, but said nothing more. She leaned back, closed her eyes, and rested. I stayed quiet, wise enough to know silence was my best response. The car carried us deep into the Wang family villa. When we entered the grand hall, Madame Wang set down her bag and lifted her gaze, speaking to someone unseen. Alicia, this is your new younger brother, George. I froze. Slowly, I looked up. At the second-floor railing stood a girl, watching silently. Her face was breathtaking, so beautiful, it didn't seem real. More beautiful even than Willow. I was stunned. So this was Alicia Wang. In my past life, she had been sent abroad shortly after I joined the Lu family. By the time I saw her again, years had passed, and her beauty was long gone, destroyed. The world called her the female king of hell, ruthless and terrifying. But right now, she was still flawless, cold, untouchable. I curved my lips into a smile and greeted her softly, Sister. But Alicia didn't answer. She leaned lazily against the railing, her gaze distant, her expression unreadable. Don't mind her. She doesn't like to talk, Madame Wang explained, before ordering the butler to show me around. She left without another glance. As I followed the butler, I turned back for some reason. And that's when I caught it, the lifeless, deathly still gaze of Alicia Wang, staring straight at me. My heart stuttered. Before I could even return a smile, she had already turned away, slipping back into her room without a word. I had been living in the Wang family for over a month. After that first day, Madame Wang never appeared again. Instead, it was Alicia I saw occasionally at the dining table. Each time, I greeted her sweetly, Sister. But she never once responded. I didn't mind. I didn't have the time to. My days were consumed with lessons. Madame Wang might not have been present, but her schedule left me no room to breathe. Etiquette classes, languages, business studies, horseback riding. Every single day, from morning till night, I worked without pause. Even the maid, Zara, pitied me when she saw the bruises from my latest fall off the horse. Young master, should I tell madam you need a day off? I shook my head, slipping on my shoes. No need. When Madame Wang brought me here, she told me something I would never forget. Children of the Wang family are destined to be the best. Even you, though you're only adopted. Zara sighed as she handed me my school bag. The Liu family's young master next door doesn't have to work this hard. They've been laughing and playing all morning. I heard they're preparing for an overseas vacation during the holidays. I knew she meant well, trying to defend me, trying to remind me I deserved a childhood too. But I smiled faintly and shook my head. I'm not tired. I want to learn. To others, the Wang family was a prison. But to me, it wasn't. The Wangs were an old aristocratic clan, far beyond the shallow wealth of families like the Lius. Their heritage, their resources, their discipline, it was a place where I could truly grow. Yes, their world was complicated. Yes, they barely acknowledged me. Yes, Madame Wang was cold and picky, and Alicia distant and aloof. But still, I belonged here. I was lost in thought when a flash of white darted across my path, a tiny kitten at my feet. Xiao Guai. A boy's frustrated voice called out. You've mistaken the person, come back. Sis, hurry, help me get Xiao Guai back. I bent down, scooping the trembling kitten into my arms. And just then I lifted my gaze. She was there, walking toward me, a smile on her face, soft and indulgent as she looked at the boy. It was Willow. But when her eyes shifted to me, the warmth froze, vanished. Her brows furrowed. Hatred bled into her gaze. Her lips curled into a sneer. You again? Like a ghost that won't leave. Her words dripped with venom, her malice bare for me to see. Willow's voice was sharp, dripping with contempt. Really think waiting here will soften my heart? Dream on, George. Before I could respond, Makoto's cheerful tone broke through her venom. He rushed toward me, his smile wide. George, I didn't expect to see you here after leaving the orphanage. Is that car waiting for you? He scooped the kitten from my arms, but the moment his eyes flicked to the Maybach parked behind me, the color drained from his face. George, you were adopted by the Wang family next door? I was about to answer when my gaze fell on the keys dangling from his wrist. My breath caught for just a second. Makoto noticed. His expression faltered, and with a clumsy movement, he tugged his sleeve down to hide the bracelet. I pretended not to notice, offering only a simple nod. Yes. By the Wangs. So now you're George Wang, he murmured, glancing between me and Willow, whose face burned with embarrassment. Yes, I confirmed softly. His curiosity sparked immediately. I heard the Wang family is terrifying. They say the Wang daughter is mentally ill, even mute. Is that true? His voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper, finger pointing toward the estate. I frowned, ready to shut him down, but Makoto didn't give me the chance. His eyes flicked to my outfit. George, are you learning shooting now? Yes, I admitted. But I still have things to do, so... Before I could excuse myself, Willow cut in sharply. Makoto, why waste words on someone like him? Let's go. Makoto scratched the back of his head. Awkward. Don't mind her, George. My sister isn't usually like this. She's normally very gentle. I don't know what's gotten into her today. Sis, wait for me. He ran after her. I stayed still for a long moment before turning to leave as well. The wind carried their voices back to me, fragments of a conversation I wasn't meant to hear. Sis, the Wang family is too strict. George is the same age as me, but he's forced into lessons every day. I saw him covered in bruises from falling. How pitiful. Humph. What's the use of learning all that? Some people just aren't destined to live a good life. Our Makoto doesn't need to suffer. He's meant to live like a little prince. Dad, Mom, and Sis are the best. Their words stung, but I only pulled my lips into a faint smile. So, to the Liu family, effort was nothing but suffering. In my past life, they had showered me with indulgence. At first, I thought it was love. But now I understood it was shackles. When I wanted to learn horseback riding, they had objected. What if you fall and scar yourself? Which noble young lady would marry you then? When I asked to learn martial arts, they scoffed. Why bother? You're a young master. We have bodyguards. No one can touch you. Later, I pleaded to study business, to learn finance. They dismissed me again. Why study so much? Your elder sister is enough. She can handle it. It looked like freedom. In truth, it was a gilded cage. They had raised me into a man who could do nothing but depend on them. But Madame Wang? She was different. Her words rang in my mind like an oath. Children of the Wang family must learn everything. Must fight for everything. Summer vacation vanished in the blink of an eye, and soon, a new school term began. Madame Wang had already transferred me to the same international school as Alicia, the same one Willow and I once attended together in my last life. On the first morning, I sat waiting in the car. When Alicia opened the door, I beamed. Good morning, sister. Mom said we'll be going to school together from now on. She froze for just a fraction of a second, then slid wordlessly into the farthest seat away from me. The next day, I tried again. And the day after that. The third, the fourth. I didn't give up. For 2 months, I greeted her every morning. And while Alicia never once replied, I noticed something strange. On days I was late to breakfast and rushed out to the car, she was always there, waiting, school bag on her back. Suppressing the surprise, I let a smile tug at my lips. Sister, you're so kind. Her response never changed. A faint glance, then her head turning away as she stepped into the car. But that day, she entered differently. Her right foot crossed the threshold first. It was such a tiny detail, but I caught it. My smile widened. Such a small change, yet such a good one. That afternoon, school ended, but Alicia never appeared at the gate. Her contact information was useless. A knot of unease coiled in my chest. Then suddenly I remembered. In my past life, around this very time, I'd overheard whispers. Classmates talking about trouble at the school gate. Back then, I was too consumed with study to pay attention. Years later, I learned the truth. Alicia, the future CEO of the Wang family, had once been brutally disfigured during high school. Could it be today? No. This was bad. Very bad. I jolted into action, messaging the driver. If you don't see me at the gate, come find us directly. Then I sprinted for the alley behind the school. Please, Alicia, don't let history repeat itself. When I reached her, my heart dropped. Alicia was cornered against a wall, surrounded by a gang of flashy girls, with a few street punks lurking behind them. Their laughter was cruel. So the famous Miss Wang really is a mute, huh? No matter what we do, she won't even scream. One sneered, spitting at her feet. A mute won't tattle. Or, are you worried the Wang family might come knocking? Damn it, this bitch dares to glare at us like that. With a face like hers, she was born to seduce trouble. The alley reeked of malice. And there she stood, Alicia. Silent. Cold. Trapped. The blade flashed in the alley, slicing toward Alicia's face. My chest tightened. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a baseball bat lying on the ground. I drew in a sharp breath, clenched my teeth, and charged forward. I've already called the police. I roared, swinging the bat wildly. For once, I was grateful for the grueling training Madame Wang had forced me through. My body remembered every lesson, every drill. The thugs weren't prepared. Panic flashed across their faces, and my sudden ferocity sent them stumbling back. My words about the police made them hesitate. Damn it, this bitch got lucky. With curses spilling from their mouths, they began to retreat. The moment they scattered, I rushed to Alicia's side. A shallow cut marked her face. Thankfully, not deep. But her arms, her legs, bruises, and scrapes covered her. Sister, hold on. I'll take you home. I helped her up carefully, but before we could move, a brutal kick sent me crashing to the ground. Pain tore through my back. Damn it, Maria, I told you this brat was lying. He never called the cops. Their leader sneered, spitting venom with every word. A mute and a liar. What a perfect pair. She kicked me again, harder this time. The blows made me double over, but when I lifted my head, I caught Alicia's terrified gaze. She was trembling. I forced a smile, even as pain clawed through me. Sister, don't be afraid. Her eyes widened. Shock rippled through her. I spread my arms, shielding her, refusing to move an inch. Behind me, fists hammered down with fury. And then Alicia broke. The girl who had always been silent, passive, unmoving, suddenly snapped. She lunged at one of the girls, sinking her teeth into her hand with desperate savagery. For a moment, Maria and her gang were stunned. But rage won over hesitation, and they dragged Alicia down, fists raining on her head, her body. An iron rod was raised high, glinting menacingly. Was this it? Was the ending still destined to remain the same? Despair filled my chest. And then footsteps. Voices. Hope surged. The driver? Please, let it be the driver. Through bloodied vision, I saw them. A pair of white sneakers at the alley's mouth. The attackers turned, glaring. You little bitch, what are you staring at? It wasn't the driver. It was a girl. I squinted, fighting to see her face, but my sight was clouded with blood. Then a voice echoed from the distance. Willow, sis. Why are you standing there? The cake shop's this way. The girl's steps faltered. She hesitated. Coming. I blinked hard, my lips trembling. Sister, I whispered. Her steps paused again. For one heartbeat, I thought she might turn. But she didn't. She only tightened her hold on the boy's hand and walked away. The boy, curious, glanced back. His scream pierced the air. Sis. Someone's hurt over there. But Willow's soft hand clamped over his eyes. Don't look. It's filthy. Her voice was gentle, almost tender. Makoto, I found you early this time. I'll protect your purity. You won't suffer at the hands of the Wang family again. You won't meet that same tragic end. Her words blurred into my spinning mind, pulling me back to the end of my past life. The moment she clutched me, whispering over and over, it's all my fault. If only I had found you earlier. Back then, I thought she was blaming herself for my suffering when I was kidnapped, maimed, fighting for her against her enemies. I had even comforted her through blood and tears. As long as you're by my side, Willow, I'm fine. In the next life, let's still be together. But now I understood. Her regret had never been about me. What haunted her was Makoto. That because she had been with me, she hadn't saved him in time. This time, she didn't come to save me. She came to watch me fall. To watch how the so-called thief who stole her love's life would be beaten in his place. I remembered fragments from my past life. Rumors whispered in classrooms. Both Wang children had been hurt. Alicia was sent abroad. Makoto wasn't allowed to go with her. His standing in the Wang family plummeted. One boy, brave enough to speak, had said it clearly. Makoto had abandoned her. Alicia bled to protect him, but he ran. He never even looked back. But Willow refused to believe it. In her eyes, Makoto was pure, kind, blameless. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Even now, even here, I wiped the blood from my eyes, staggered to my knees, and clung desperately to one attacker's leg. Don't you dare hurt my sister. Kicks rained down, curses spat. Still, I refused to let go. Until finally, the world tilted, blackness swallowing everything. When I opened my eyes again, the sharp sting of disinfectant filled the air. White walls, sterile lights, I was in a hospital. Someone's head rested beside my bed, dark hair spilling across the sheets. The driver must have gotten there in time. I shifted slightly, and the movement stirred her awake. Alicia lifted her head, her peach blossom eyes locking on me. She didn't blink. For the longest time, she just stared unmoving. Then, slowly, she raised her hand. Gently, she touched the bandage on my forehead. Brother, does it hurt? Her voice was hoarse, as if it hadn't been used in years. But it was soft, beautiful. I froze. Shock rooted me to the bed. Alicia spoke. Even Madame Wang, who had just pushed open the door, stopped in her tracks. Her composure shattered. Ollie, did Ollie just speak? Her voice trembled. She rushed forward, her eyes red. Ollie, say something to Mom too, okay? But Alicia didn't answer. She only looked at me, her gaze fixed on my wound, refusing to turn away. I tried to ease the silence, fumbling for words. Mom, just now sister, she. But Madame Wang shook her head, her voice cracking, eyes wet. It's fine. Little by little, Ollie was changing. She just needs time, Madame Wang whispered, her voice breaking off as if the rest of the words were too heavy to carry. The door creaked open, and Zara slipped in with a lunchbox, her timing almost uncanny. During the meal, she gave us the update we'd all been waiting for. The alley incident had been investigated. Just a group of street punks, greedy enough to think the Wang family would make an easy target. One of them, unbelievably, was even a fellow student. The adults wouldn't escape prison, and the student, already expelled. I nodded, but my eyes wandered to Alicia, who sat quietly, nibbling at her food. In my past life, I knew, because of the cruel whim of those same street rats, this gentle soul had been dragged into the abyss. But now, here she was alive, safe, eating lunch beside me. She must have noticed I hadn't touched my plate, because she tilted her head and looked at me, puzzled. Brother, eat. Her soft voice shook me back to reality. I picked up my chopsticks, not for myself, but to place food into her bowl instead. Sister, you eat too. Not long after we finished, a nurse rushed in. She scolded Alicia gently, whisking her away. Only then did I realize she had snuck here from another ward. Before she left, she reached out with that small, trembling hand and patted my head. Brother, get well soon. Just a few words, yet the entire Wang family standing around us was moved to tears. Even Zara turned away, quietly dabbing her eyes. Alicia left, but Madame Wang stayed. She didn't follow her out. Instead, she stood frozen, staring at the frail back of the girl walking away. Without her usual armor of makeup, the sharpness faded from her features. She looked softer, gentler, more like a mother than a businesswoman. Alicia wasn't always like this, she said finally, her voice low and trembling. She used to be steady, thoughtful, more brilliant than most children her age. Everyone called her a genius, not a mute, not autistic. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. It all changed because of that accident 4 years ago. I stilled. And then she told me the truth. Alicia had once had a younger brother, Luis. He was the child of Wang's father's younger brother. But when both men and their wives died young in a sudden accident, the entire Wang fortune was left on Madame Wang's shoulders. She had taken Luis in, raised him as her own. Those days were hard. Without Wang's father, the family business was like exposed meat in a pack of wolves. Everyone wanted to tear off a piece. Madame Wang had been forced to grow ruthless, to sharpen herself until she was feared. Inevitably, she made enemies. Then came the nightmare. 4 years ago, the Wang children were kidnapped. 6-year-old Luis, small but stubborn, saw his sister being beaten. He threw himself at the thug, sinking his teeth into the man's hand with all the strength he had. The man snapped. Again and again, he smashed a heavy stick against Luis's head. Alicia saw everything. When they were finally rescued, Luis was gone. And Alicia never smiled again. She never spoke again. No matter how much Madame Wang tried, nothing could reach her. In the end, on the advice of a friend, Madame Wang chose another path. She adopted a boy. A younger brother she hoped might bring Alicia back. Her gaze drifted to me as she walked to the window. You're not the first child I brought home. But Ollie, she hasn't been this close to anyone in years. She really likes you. A week later, I was discharged from the hospital. Returning to the Wang household felt different now. Before, I was just a foster son, expendable, easily discarded. But after Alicia spoke, everyone looked at me differently. Some with respect, some with wariness. The lessons only grew heavier. Madame Wang's voice was firm, her expectations unshakable. If you want to enter the Wang Corporation in the future, You'll need ability. Real ability. Otherwise, how will you convince anyone? Around me, the family members shifted uneasily. Their eyes carried both scrutiny and jealousy.
But I didn't care about them.
My gaze flicked to Alicia, my heart tight with worry. Would she be upset about all this? Instead, she rested her chin in her hands, eyes sparkling as she stammered out, "Brother, don't be afraid. You're the best." My throat tightened. My eyes burned. I nodded hard. Madame Wang's expression softened, just slightly. Ollie must also work hard. Otherwise, if George surpasses you, you'll need your brother to protect you. No. Alicia leapt to her feet, flustered. I will protect my brother. She even demonstrated a clumsy set of punches right there, cheeks red with determination. Ever since the schoolyard incident, she had thrown herself into martial arts. She was serious. I glanced at Madame Wang, and for once, we both laughed. Warm, genuine laughter. Looking at Alicia's flustered little face, I couldn't help but smile. Madame Wang had said, "Ollie is lucky to have you." But in truth, coming to the Wang family in this life, wasn't I the one who was lucky? Time passed in the blink of an eye. With the Wang family's careful guidance, I became the model child, whispered about by neighbors and envied by classmates. On the school's honor board, my name appeared often, sometimes right alongside Alicia's. She was in a higher grade, but her brilliance still shone. Makoto, on the other hand, the star student of my past life, the one who once towered over me, now too busy playing to ever make the list. And Willow? She had been a poor student before, and she remained one still. The Wang and Liu families grew more distant, and in this life, it seemed fate wanted to keep us apart. I rarely saw her, only in fleeting moments, when I caught her at the results board, standing in the crowd, her gaze shadowy and unreadable. "Sis, what are you looking at? Our names aren't even on there." Makoto tugged at her sleeve, confused. "It's nothing." She turned quickly, pulling him away. I watched her go, a chill brushing through me. By the time these shadows passed, I had turned 18. The National College entrance exams loomed ahead. Alicia, by then, was already studying abroad. She had accepted an invitation from a prestigious foreign school 3 years earlier. But on the day of my exam, despite my refusals, she flew back overnight, just to be with me. My brother's matters are the most important. Her stubbornness left me helpless. I gave in. And when it was all over, when I walked out after my final subject, there she was. From a distance, Alicia leaned gracefully against a car, dressed in a white sundress, sunlight spilling around her like a halo. Her radiant face turned heads the moment she appeared. So much for keeping a low profile. Alicia never could. The mute girl people once mocked was long gone. Now, with a quiet grace that made even strangers blush, she walked beside me like light itself. I hurried to her side, urging softly, "Sis, let's go quickly." She blinked, puzzled, but obeyed, even taking my school bag into her hands. "Coming to pick you up makes you unhappy?" she asked gently. I didn't have time to explain, so I nudged her into the car. "No, it's just that we have that gathering, remember? Our friends are waiting. If we're late, they'll complain." It was supposed to be simple, a small reunion to celebrate my exams and Alicia's return. After the party, someone threw out an idea. "Let's hit the racetrack." With nothing else planned, Alicia and I went along. At the track, a race was already underway. Cheers shook the stands. One of our friends glanced at the big screen and froze. "Wait, the winner, isn't that Willow?" "She's back." Willow, the Liu family's future heiress. She'd gone abroad, earned a half-hearted degree, and now returned in a blaze of noise and speed. Almost on cue, a bright red race car blazed across the finish line. The driver stepped out, squinting into the lights, basking in the crowd's cheers. Years had passed since I'd last seen her, but the softness of youth had burned away. She looked more and more like the woman I remembered from my previous life. Bold, flamboyant, untouchable. From the family seats, a boy in a black tracksuit rushed out, wrapping her in his arms, planting a kiss on her cheek. "Willow sis, you're gorgeous." The display left no doubt about their closeness. In my past life, Willow and I had faced constant opposition as foster siblings under the Lu name. But in this life, something had shifted. Makoto wasn't paraded as their adopted son anymore. Instead, he was just a guest child, a careful adjustment to keep appearances neat. And now, standing there hand in hand with Willow, he played the part of her chosen one, the crowd eating it up. One of our friends clicked his tongue. Looks like the Lu family booked out the whole track. Let's change venues. I was ready to leave with the group when the commotion ahead grew louder. Willow and Makoto, surrounded by admirers, walked straight toward us. Her gaze swept the crowd, then landed on me. For a heartbeat, her eyes flickered with something, recognition, amazement. She froze. And just as quickly, she let go of Makoto's hand. "Sis," Makoto protested, glaring at me. His tone was sharp, hostile. "George, what are you doing here?" His eyes burned as if I'd trespassed on something sacred. Or, did you come because you heard Willow sis was back? Wanted to watch her race? The word struck, and I saw Willow's expression shift ever so slightly. Her gaze slid over me as if to say, "So that's it. You still care." I had no words. Did she really believe I'd come for her? Before I could answer, Alicia moved. She stepped forward, her small frame blocking mine, steady as a wall. Willow's eyes darkened at the sight. Calmly, she spoke. "George, Makoto speaks bluntly. Don't take it to heart." But Makoto wasn't finished. "Why are you being polite to him? Who knows if he's following you around on purpose?" "Makoto, enough." Willow cut him off, her voice soft but firm. Yet her gaze betrayed her, drifting back to me, lingering longer than she intended. In that moment, she saw it, the change, the weight of my bearing, the discipline honed under the Wang family's hand. It was something Makoto, spoiled and pampered, could never touch. My voice was cold when I answered. "Miss Lu, keep your precious brother in check. Don't let him bite at everyone he sees." One of our friends scoffed, stepping in. "George came here with Alicia to celebrate his exams. He wasn't here to watch some child's game." The jab landed sharp. Makoto bristled instantly.
What do you mean by that?
"Willow just won first place and you dare call it child's play?" Willow's face darkened. Pride had always been her armor. Fresh from victory, she couldn't stomach mockery. Her gaze fixed on Alicia, ignoring me entirely. "Miss Wang, since it's rare to run into you here, why don't we race around? That last one wasn't much fun." Alicia frowned, ready to answer, but I caught her arm and shook my head. I didn't want her tangled in Willow's games. Willow smirked. "Afraid? Then forget it. The Wang family's heiress is nothing special after all." The provocation hung heavy in the air. Our friends looked grim, but stayed silent. They all knew Alicia hadn't touched a race car in years. I kept my expression calm. Alicia, however, simply smiled. She reached out, just like when we were children, and ruffled my hair. "Do you want to see your sister win?" I nodded, my chest tightening. "Sis, you can do it." She turned toward the track, not sparing Willow a glance. Willow's face tightened. Being ignored, truly ignored, was something she wasn't used to. Her pride curdled into anger. With clenched teeth, she spat, putting on an act, and stalked back to her red car. The engines roared to life. The starting gun fired. Willow's car shot forward, a flash of red tearing through the track. Alicia's black car lagged behind, its engine growling low but steady. Makoto leaned close to me, smirking. "Some people should just stick to being obedient little bookworms. And if that doesn't work out, just marry early instead of pretending to be what you're not." Makoto's words dripped with smugness. I met his stare coldly. "It's only the beginning. What are you so proud of? Falling behind from the start, and you think she can't catch up to my sister? Don't make me laugh." The crowd howled with jeers, echoing his taunts. Our friends seethed, fists clenched, but none of them had the power to silence the noise. I stayed quiet, my eyes fixed on the track. Then it happened. At a high-speed curve, Alicia's black car braked late, a razor-thin calculation. With the precision of a textbook maneuver, she slid through the corner, overtaking Willow's red car in one breathtaking move. The black car roared past the finish line first. Silence. The racetrack fell into stunned quiet. Even Makoto had no words. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, a hesitant whisper. That cornering technique, it looked familiar. Isn't that just like last year's Triple Crown champion, God V? The name fell like a stone into still water. My expression didn't change. I already knew. Alicia wasn't just talented, she had been a prodigy. At 11 years old, she'd won the International Youth Cup. And even after her long absence, she'd swept the Triple Crown last year, leaving the racing world in awe. But Alicia had always hidden behind a veil, keeping her true identity secret. Few had ever seen her face. Now, with the crowd in disbelief, Alicia stepped out of her black car.
Calm.
Unshaken. She walked straight toward me, her presence cutting through the murmurs. She reached out her hand. Brother, let's go home. I smiled, taking her hand without hesitation. Okay. Behind us, I could hear Makoto fumbling to comfort Willow. Her face twisted with rage, the victory torn out of her hands by the one girl she had tried to belittle. The days blurred. In the blink of an eye, exam results came out. I was the top scorer in the entire province. It didn't surprise me, but Madame Wang and Alicia were overjoyed. They spoke of plans to take me abroad once the university admission letter arrived. I shook my head. I still have unfinished lessons. Alicia frowned, worry softening her voice. George, you're wound too tightly. You need to rest. Madame Wang added, no matter what happens, the Wang family will always be your support. Do you understand? Her words stopped me cold. For the first time, I realized how harshly I had been pushing myself since my rebirth. Willow's rejection in this life had cut deeper than I cared to admit. And in my desperation to prove myself, to hold onto the Wang family's recognition, I had almost crushed myself beneath the weight of it. But looking at the two of them now, their eyes filled with nothing but concern, warmth spread through me. And finally, I yielded. The day we set out for the airport, fate delivered another encounter. The Liu family stood ahead of us, cloaked in a heavy silence. The parents looked grim. Willow's face was detached, unreadable. Makoto trailed behind her, head down, his usual arrogance gone. Madame Wang's tone was light, but her words cut sharp. Makoto cheated in the exams. His results were cancelled. The Liu family has become a laughingstock. They were rushing him abroad now, desperate to hide the scandal. I was stunned.
Cheating?
With his background, he could have gone quietly, bought a degree overseas, and no one would have cared. But to take that kind of reckless risk, it made no sense. I shook my head. It wasn't my problem. As I boarded, I felt it, her gaze. I turned, and there she was. Willow. Not far away. For once, caught off guard. Her eyes softened, complicated. Congratulations, top scorer. Thanks. I replied without looking back. She froze. The distance between us felt sharper than any words. And yet, she stepped forward, her lips parting. George. But Makoto's hand clamped onto her arm. His glare was venomous. Sis, he doesn't even care enough to acknowledge you. Let go. Willow shoved him away with sudden force. He stumbled, crashing to the ground. Years of resentment burst out of him in one shout. Why are you turning cold on me now? Aren't you the one who threw him away first? The words rooted her in place. My turn came. I didn't look back. I walked through the boarding gate with the Wang family, leaving her frozen in the crowd behind me. Hawaii awaited. Time moved quickly after that. University brought knowledge, opportunities, and the chance to build something of my own. By sophomore year, I had gathered a research team of my peers, each one brilliant in their own right. With their strength and Madame Wang's trust, I was handed control of a small subsidiary of Wang Group. Our very first project succeeded beyond expectation. Then came breakthroughs, one after another, propelling the company to rival even the parent group. I began to make a name for myself, no longer just the foster son, but a rising star in business. By the time I graduated, Alicia had returned, stepping directly into Wang Group's headquarters. Many whispered of a clash, siblings at odds, heirs competing for power. But they were wrong. I had no envy, no resentment. I supported her fully. And with me and Madame Wang behind her, Alicia thrived. She carved out her place with skill and poise. At the same time, a statement shook the business world. The subsidiary under my control would break away from Wang Group and be renamed Orange Cat Group. That night, fireworks bloomed across the sky from the Orange Cat rooftop. Standing at my side, Alicia whispered, "George, remember this. Wang Group will always be Orange Cat support." I laughed lightly. Not necessarily. Maybe one day, Orange Cat will be Wang Group's support. Who knows? She smiled, eyes warm. My brother is the best. I turned toward the city lights, the neon glow stretching endless. This was my deal with Madame Wang. Orange Cat was mine, entirely, completely mine. In exchange, I would stand beside Alicia always. I remembered the day she'd asked me plainly, "Don't you want more? Maybe half of Wang Group?" Even I might agree. No, I had shaken my head. I only want something that belongs to me. Completely. To George. Because in 2 lifetimes I had learned one truth. Only what I held firmly in my own hands was ever truly mine. Graduation brought me invitations, titles, and expectations. One of them was to represent my alma mater in a mounted archery competition. For me, it was less about prestige and more about a rare chance to breathe, just a moment of calm outside the chaos of business. The outcome was never in doubt. I won easily. The championship mine before the crowd even caught its breath. As I stepped off the podium, staff members swarmed me, showering me with praise. I slipped free with some effort, only to hear a voice I hadn't expected. "George." I froze for the briefest second. "Willow." It was the first time we'd seen each other since she returned to inherit the Lu Corporation. Makoto lingered beside her, sour and sullen, but she ignored him completely as she walked toward me. Her gaze held something I hadn't seen in years, nostalgia. "You've become even more outstanding." Her eyes shimmered with admiration. But beneath it was something else. Loss, and maybe even regret. The expression felt hauntingly familiar. In my past life, I had stood beside her at a banquet while Makoto, then the Wang family's foster son, played a famous piano piece on stage. And back then, Willow had looked at him with this exact same expression. It made me want to laugh. A lifetime had passed, but her tastes hadn't changed. She always admired what she couldn't have. I nodded politely, already stepping past her. But she moved into my path, shadows flickering across her face. "If I said we could start over, you could still be my brother. And also my husband." The words stopped me cold. Brother. Husband. Both. I cut her off, my tone sharp. "I don't understand what you're saying. If Miss Lu has so much free time, perhaps she should worry about the Lu Corporation instead." Her expression darkened. And I knew why. Lu Corporation was crumbling. Stocks plummeting, foundation rotting. In my past life, Willow had begged me to plead with Alicia, the queen of hell in business, to save her family. And I had. But this time, there was no Wang Group standing behind her. No hidden miracle waiting to catch her fall. Lu Corporation was already doomed. I turned to leave, unwilling to waste another second. But Makoto, who had been silent all this time, snapped. His voice was sharp, unsteady. "Willow sis and I are getting engaged. Can't you just stay away from us? Stop showing up everywhere." He rushed forward to block my way, but Willow yanked him back, her patience fraying. "What are you doing? You can't help me with anything. Can't you at least stop making trouble?" The disgust in her tone cut deeper than any blade. Makoto staggered back, staring at her as if seeing her for the first time. And then, something inside him shattered. He laughed. Wild, manic laughter that echoed across the hall. His finger jabbed at her, then at me. "I'm the troublemaker? Willow, you regret it, don't you? You think he'll come back to you?"
He's George now.
"Who do you think you are? You're the one who chose me." So why are you the first to get tired of me? And then it clicked. Makoto had come back too.
Just like me.
No wonder he was unraveling. No wonder his eyes carried that madness. Shut up. Willow's voice trembled. She shot me a panicked look, then dragged him up with force.
Sorry.
My brother made a fool of himself. Makoto snapped back, shouting, Brother? We're about to be engaged, and you still call me brother? Willow's face was tight with strain. She tried to quiet him, but he wouldn't listen. Their quarrel spilled into chaos. I pretended not to hear, not to understand, and slipped away. Only when I slid into Alicia's car did I finally exhale, tension draining from my chest. She glanced at me, amused. What happened? Did a ghost chase you back there? I nodded gravely.
Yes.
A very scary one. And wasn't that the truth? Even in a moment like this, somehow, they found me. Orange Cat Group was unstoppable. Together with Wang Group, our alliance cut across industries like fire through dry grass. Our results dazzled the world. No longer was I just the foster son of the Wang family. I was George, head of Orange Cat, the rising star of the business world. Meanwhile, Lu Corporation was barely clinging to life. They sold off assets, liquidated shares, their empire collapsing piece by piece. Out of old sentiment, I restrained Wang Group and Orange Cat from crushing them entirely. But it was a mercy that changed nothing. Lu Corporation was finished. The next time I saw Willow was at a project bidding conference. I sat on the evaluation panel. She sat below, Makoto by her side. When her eyes flicked toward me, she quickly looked away, her pride unable to withstand the weight of our reversed fates. Once, Lu had been untouchable. Now, they were just another bidder in a crowded hall. During intermission, I stepped into the restroom. As I washed my hands, a shadow appeared in the mirror. Makoto, let's talk. I didn't reply, only dried my hands and walked into the nearby lounge. He followed, restless energy burning in his eyes. You've come back too, haven't you? Does it matter? I asked flatly. He froze, then his voice rose. Willow abandoned you and chose me. Don't you care? I smirked. She pushed you into that damned Wang family. She knew Madame Wang was fake. And Alicia, she's not a good person either. Watch your words. My voice cut through his. He sneered. So, now you defend them.
Right.
I forgot. You're Wang Group's precious young master. You really know how to work your way in. My tone stayed even. Affection is mutual. How you treat others is how they treat you. His laugh was bitter.
Exactly.
Do you know what I hate most? That look on you. Like you don't need anyone.
Why?
In our last life, you were taken in by the Lu family. You grew up in happiness. You even married Willowsis.
And now?
This life, you ended up in that hellhole Wang family, but you still won their love. Even now, Willow's eyes, they still look at you.
Why?
Where did I lose? His madness filled the room. I stepped back carefully. You're mistaken. Willow only likes you. You're already engaged, aren't you? Makoto's laughter grew wild, echoing off the walls. Makoto's voice broke with something between rage and grief as he ripped the bracelet from his wrist. His smile twisted, uglier than crying. But the one she can't forget isn't me at all, it's you, George. He held up the bracelet like a curse. Do you remember? Back when we were kids at the orphanage, you saved that girl at the gate. The one drowning. She was beautiful, dressed like she belonged to another world. When you ran to call the dean, her family came looking.
And
I pretended to be you. She gave me this necklace, said she would come back for me. I waited, George. I waited and waited. But in the end, she came back for you. And they took you into the Lu family instead. His voice cracked, but the bitterness never softened. I couldn't stand watching you happy. So I whispered things to Willow, fed her doubts. She wavered. She was moved. If I hadn't, maybe things would have been different. His eyes burned with hate. And then I slipped. Said something wrong. Madame Wang wanted to throw me out. And Alicia, that deranged woman. She even wanted me beaten to death. She hated me Because I left her in that alley. If not for her, I wouldn't have had that accident. But when everything started over again, I thought I had another chance. Only now Willow says she doesn't want to marry me anymore. Back then, her eyes were full of me. And in that moment, it all became clear. So that was what Willow had meant, in our past life, when she whispered about wanting to find earlier. Poor, foolish Makoto. He never realized the truth. Willow had never truly longed for me. What she wanted was always the same, an unreachable dream. An heir, a flower on the highest ridge. In our past life, Makoto wore that halo as the Wang family's young master. Now that light had shifted onto me. I turned toward the doorway and froze. Willow stood there. At some point, she had arrived. Her face was pale, her eyes trembling with shock. "You're wrong." My words were steady. Makoto snapped. "No, I did nothing wrong. Who are you to look down on me, George?" His rambling broke off as Willow's fury erupted. "You lied to me, you worthless fool." Her voice was raw, her body trembling. "If I hadn't chosen you, how would I have ended up like this?" Her eyes flared with hate. Makoto's face twisted in disbelief. The storm was seconds from breaking. I slipped out before it could explode, pulling the lounge door shut behind me. At the end of the corridor, Alicia waited in the glow of the light.
Calm.
Patient. As if she'd known I would come. I walked straight to her. "Sis, let's go." Madness has a way of consuming everything it touches. And Makoto's mind finally snapped. He stole confidential documents from the Lu Corporation, handed them straight to a rival. Inside Lu, chaos exploded.
Deals collapsed.
Their foundation cracked.
And why?
Because Willow refused to marry him. Her parents had even considered marrying him off elsewhere, squeezing out whatever value he had left. That was when his desperation turned into poison. "If I can't have it, I'll destroy it."
And so he did.
Barely 2 months after the bidding conference, I heard the news. Document theft. Betrayal.
Treachery.
None of it surprised me. In both lives, Makoto's true nature had never changed. But what happened next was worse. One night, Willow ended up in the hospital. Stabbed. It was Makoto. He hadn't run far before the Lu family caught him. Even then, they were soft-hearted. They tried to reason with him, to pull him back from the edge. But instead, he pulled out a knife. His voice raged with hatred. "All your fault, old witch. If you hadn't filled Willow's head with ideas, why would she refuse me? Why would she dare let me marry someone else?" And then he lunged. Straight for Madame Lu, the woman who had treated him like her own son. Willow threw herself forward, shielding her mother. Even if Makoto had wanted to pull back, it was too late. The blades sank into her. She collapsed, bleeding, her life hanging by a thread. The Lu family's mercy ended that night. They hardened their hearts. They handed him over to the police.
Corporate espionage.
Attempted murder. For Makoto, there would be no next life. Only a cell. Only darkness. A year later, the story was different. Orange Cat Group was listed overseas. The Wang family threw a grand banquet in my honor. Power, wealth, prestige, the hall overflowed with it. Politicians, tycoons, leaders from every corner of society circled around me. Their praise poured in, their flattery endless. I smiled, poised, moving through the crowd like a man who belonged there. But then, in the corner of the hall, I saw her. Willow. Her gown was still elegant in design, but the fabric was worn, its edges fraying. The once proud heiress reduced to this. I only looked once. Then I turned away. The Lu family's presence here was nothing but Madame Lu's desperate petitioning. A mercy from Madame Wang, remembering they had once been neighbors. The Lius were drowning in debt, forced out of the villas they once called home. Later, when the music rose and the dancing began, I refused more than a few invitations. When the hall thinned, I slipped away to the terrace, searching for air. The night breeze was cool.
It whispered against my skin.
And then Willow appeared. "George." Her voice wavered. Her eyes clung to me with a fragile desperation. You've come back too, haven't you? You can't fool me. We've been together too many years. I know it's you. The night wind stilled. Her words trembled in the air. Back at the orphanage, you could have claimed me. We once loved each other so deeply. Why not now? I turned to her, my face calm, my voice steady. Because I wanted to walk a path without you. And you chose the same, didn't you? The words sliced her heart like ice. She staggered back, her face pale as the moon. Her lips trembled, but no words came. Because she knew. It was true. She had chosen first. Her body slumped with defeat. Shoulders caving, spirit broken. She turned and walked away, her figure dimming into the night. I didn't move. Not until she was gone. And then, George. A softer voice drifted behind me. Alicia. She stepped closer, her gaze brushing the space where Willow had been. Then, gently, she held out a cup of honey water. Tired? She asked softly, her tone full of nothing but care. I looked at her, her delicate profile, her quiet strength. Then my eyes drifted back to the hall, where Madame Wang mingled with grace among the elites. I shook my head, took the cup, and let my forehead rest gently against Alicia's shoulder. Sis, do you know? This life of mine, it's truly been good. A mother strict, but always respectful. A sister small in stature, yet always standing before me, shielding me from storms. Warmth, real and within my reach. The betrayals, the suffering, they're behind me now. This life. I shine bright.